Wow! And it is all over!
You guys may have noticed recently that two once great champions in the UFC's middleweight division recently moved up and tried their hand at the UFC's light heavyweight division, and it did not quite go as planned, to say the very least. Those two fighters, if you don't know, were Luke Rockhold first, and then Chris Weidman attempted the same thing a couple months later. Luke Rockhold fought Jan Blachowicz, got knocked out violently in the second round, and Chris Weidman recently fought Dominic Reyes and suffered the same fate in the first round. Which brings me to the main topic of discussion for this video. Will Jacare fare any better in his 205-pound debut against Jan Blachowicz? What do you guys think? I think, honestly, Luke Rockhold was an absolute giant for the middleweight division, so him moving up to 205 I thought made sense. I was hoping it would help fix his chin issue. Obviously, that wasn't the case. He had a lot of trouble attempting to take Jan Blachowicz down. I think he wore himself out. He almost got finished at the end of the first round, and then he did get violently finished in the second round. So clearly it didn't work out too well for him. And when I read the news that Chris Weidman was going to attempt the same thing, moving up to 205 and try his hand against Dominic Reyes, who's undefeated and has looked like an absolute beast for the most part in the UFC, I personally did not think things would go too well. And to say the very least, they did not. It was not a competitive fight. From what I remember, I think Weidman may have got Dominic Reyes down for like 2 seconds. He popped right back up, and from there he absolutely dominated the fight and finished Chris Weidman in the first round. So that honestly wasn't too much of a surprise to me. Between the two, Chris Weidman and Luke Rockhold, I thought Luke was more fitted for the 205-pound division because, like I said, he's naturally a bigger guy, and a lot of his game is based on, or a lot of his game being successful is based on getting his opponents down and then absolutely dominating them from top position. Honestly, in my opinion, I think Luke Rockhold probably has the best top game in the UFC as far as like pressure, ground and pound, jiu-jitsu goes. That dude suffocates you, and once he gets you down, once he gets on top of you, you do not get up, and he 99% of the time is going to finish you. Unfortunately, he tried and tried and tried to get Jan Blachowicz down, but it didn't happen, and he ended up paying the price of getting knocked out. Now, like I said, when I heard Chris Weidman was going to move up and attempt the same thing against an arguably better fighter in Dominic Reyes, it was no surprise to me that he got knocked out in the first round. But this video isn't about Luke Rockhold or Chris Weidman. It is about Jacare, who fights this weekend against Jan Blachowicz. Is he going to fare better than Chris and Luke did, or is he going to suffer the same fate? In my opinion, I think he has a chance. I don't think his chin is anywhere near as shot as Luke or Chris's is, but I also think he's not quite as big, and his frame isn't exactly suited for the light heavyweight division like a Luke Rockhold. Obviously, he has great grappling. His striking has definitely improved over the years, so he has pretty competent striking. But if you look at his fight against Jack Hermansson, who obviously is a middleweight, he's not a 205-pounder, and Hermansson has great grappling himself. He's a good fighter, but Jacare pretty much got dominated in every phase of the game during that fight. And Jan Blachowicz is a really solid fighter, pretty much wherever the fight goes. I think he has good enough grappling that if the fight did hit the ground, he could survive against Jacare, get back up, and I think he has a huge advantage on the feet. He's a much bigger guy, a much stronger guy, and as you saw in the Luke Rockhold fight, he absolutely has that one-shot knockout power. So my prediction, Jacare would last longer than Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman. Unfortunately though, I think he's either going to lose a pretty lopsided decision, or I think he'll get finished in the third round. I love Jacare. I was really hoping he beat Jack Hermansson and finally got that ever so elusive UFC title shot. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and Father Time, unfortunately, is not on his side. He's not getting any younger, and moving up to 205 kind of seems like it's his last attempt to make a run at a title. I personally don't see it going too well. I hope it does. I really like Jacare. I've loved watching his fights over the years. He seems like a really great dude, but to me, it doesn't seem all too likely that he will be as successful as he hopes at 205. Now, if he looks great this weekend and either dominates Jan Blachowicz or even finishes him, then all bets are out the window. Maybe he'll look completely rejuvenated at a new weight class where he doesn't have to cut as much weight. I'm hoping the fight's good either way, but like I said, I don't have very high hopes, and I don't think he'll fare too much better than Luke Rockhold or Chris Weidman. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think Jacare has what it takes to beat Jan Blachowicz? Do you think he'll look a lot better than Luke and Chris did, or do you think he will ultimately suffer the same fate as those two fighters? With that said, that's a wrap. So enjoy the fights this weekend. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.
My goodness!
Oh my God!
Just like that!
That is some serious power!
Wow!